So I think the Chicago Bears are just hit with a really good problem. There's some rankings that just came out, and we're looking at a Bears roster projection. Tough offensive line choices are to be had beyond Darnell Wright in the starting five. And guys, this is a really good problem. We're looking at last year. We had a team on our hands that we were like, oh my goodness, I hope Bates can play center. Who's going to plug in at guard? Nate Davis, he doesn't want to practice. All these things that we are taking really bottom level players, trying to force them into starting positions. That's all changed. There's a really good problem here. Instead of last year of who do you keep, we've got some hard reserves decisions in training camp instead of holy crap, who do we start? So just a really good problem. Once again, I'm going to go through this a bit, talk about maybe the biggest training camp battle on our hands, looking forward to the end of July, and kind of see, let's go straight to what PFF has to add to all this. This is what provoked this story for you guys today. And the Bears offensive line underwent a well-documented overhaul this season. It's too fun not to talk about again. GM Ryan Poles, he traded for guards Joe Thuney from the KC Chiefs. Kind of underrated, one of the best trades of this entire offseason in the NFL. Jonah Jackson comes over from the Rams, former Pro Bowler under your very own Ben Johnson, and that's looking really great until even center Drew Dahlman was signed, a 3-year free agent contract, and all of these contracts, by the way, are all made in a way that if something goes south like Nate Davis, the Bears are able to get out of these contracts, I believe after year 2, with almost zero dead cap space, which is a very good thing. So let's kind of get to the meat and potatoes here. Let's go to what PFF had to say. Just a really cool thing here. Looking at the top 10 projected offensive lines of 2025, you've got the Eagles, the Broncos, the Bills. I don't know, guys. I thought I would never see this in my lifetime after so many bad lines over the last decade plus. You're looking at the Bears slotting in as the number 4 offensive line, and that's going to the Colts, the Bucks, the Vikings, the Falcons, the Jets, the Chargers. Hey, what team is missing from here? What team is missing here from the top 10 offensive line? Is that the Detroit Lions? The Detroit Lions are no longer being listed as a top 10 offensive line team. That is absolutely beautiful to hear. I think it's just because, their center retired. They're trying to plug in a rookie, kind of making some shifts here and there. We'll see how this PFF ranking goes once the pads are on, once games are being played, but you can't be anything but in love with this list. So let's kind of get back on track. That's a lot of established veteran talent, right? Onboarded in a really short time. It's going to have to gel. But what it's done, it's created a really formidable front after last year's struggles, and now we've got right tackle Darnell Wright emerging as a top talent at the position. I think he's going to be a Pro Bowler. He is finally ready, and that investment shows us what Ben Johnson is doing here. He puts the utmost importance on developing a quality offensive line. So then on top of it, we used a second-round pick on Ozzie Tropillo, and this is a really nice thing. He's actually going to challenge incumbent Braxton Jones to start at left tackle. Who knows if Jones is even going to be ready, but that's why keeping 10 offensive linemen with all this depth, it seems sound, and there's versatility required to have multiple reserves at each position. So selecting a top 6, the presumed starters, right, plus Tropillo, that seems super easy, but let's kind of get into the meat of this. The next 4 were hard because we now have quality in the reserves entering training camp. No one's talking about it. I haven't talked about him yet. 3rd-round draft pick Karan Amagaje. He was splitting first unit reps with Jones, who's still rehabbing from surgery, and it seems unlikely the team is going to give up on Amagaje. Really kind of starting to heat up with a battle with Ozzie Tropillo. Guys, this is just really good. So let's look at the potential keepers for this roster. Some of the names are obvious. We're looking at Drew Dahlman, Joe Thuney, Jonah Jackson, Darnell Wright, Braxton Jones, Ozzie Tropillo, Karan Amagaje, and then Bill Murray, not the actor, the player, a really versatile Ryan Bates, kind of where he's supposed to be as a reserve. But he can be a valuable piece if the Bears keep him on. He can really bounce around pretty much any position on the line in a pinch. And then you've got newly drafted Luke Newman. So who are possibly the odd men out? I hate seeing this name on here, Doug Kramer. He provided some really quality snaps when we really needed him last year. Theo Benedette, really like the player. Hilarious on Hard Knocks, but I hope he can do something better for the Bears besides just singing his underwear. I'm just saying. But you're looking at Theo Benedette as perhaps the best offensive lineman to ever come out of the college collegiate ranks. I want to see if his game can translate to the pro level. Really unfortunate injury last year. You've got Chris Glazer, Jordan McFadden, Joshua Miles, and another really intriguing name in my book, that's Ricky Stromberg. Looked like he was going to be a really solid center coming out of the NFL. I think he was drafted by the Commanders, my bad. But then kind of fell out of favor with the new coaching regime. The Bears were able to snatch him off waivers. That's a player I'd like to look at camp and see how he plays. So we're looking at polls, obviously valuing Ryan Bates because he can play guard and center in a pinch. He could be a real asset. And it's kind of looking at, too, for a potential cut candidate. It's important to see that cutting him as a post-June 1 cut would actually save the Bears $3.5 million in salary cap space this year. So if he's cut before the season, that might be a factor, too. Luke Newman, he's got a stick. He was just drafted by this regime, I believe, in the 7th round. That's why he's projected to make the roster despite needing to learn the center position. And it'll be interesting to see who's kept on the active 53, him or Doug Kramer. He easily could spend some time in the practice squad if Doug Kramer is active. I mean, that's just a simple fact. It's a tough choice, but it's one made a bit easier with Bates's inside versatility at multiple positions. So I think after kind of some ballyhoo during this offseason, ballyhoo, that's a weird name, I think Bates is probably going to stick. He's going to make this roster. And really, Dahlman, he didn't play a full season in 23 or 24. That's important to note. A quality reserve center, it seems absolutely vital. We'll have to see if the Newman-Kramer dynamic plays out in camp, but don't really completely write off Ricky Stromberg. He might be a really low-key important piece of the puzzle as far as this offensive line, but some really nice depth. And maybe this new staff thinks less of Bill Murray. Time will tell. I like Murray. I like the grit that he played with. Just a really tough dude, a good guy, and he can step in and play well in a pinch. He showed that. But protecting this group at this stage is tough. Projecting it is even tougher. And I think it's just going to come down to how these players gel with offensive line coach Dan Ruchar and how he wants to construct the unit. But these are really good problems to have, you guys. These are just really, really good problems to have. And now you're looking at this left tackle battle. It's shaping up to be one of training camp's biggest storylines. And you guys already know, you've seen it in mandatory minicamp. And as this roster continues to shrink, as we get closer and closer to playing actual football games, you're looking at the headliner at left tackle. I mean, it's still Braxton Jones. Jacob Infante brought this up. The guy is actually a really quality left tackle, and he's just absolutely balled out with the Bears after we grabbed him from a tiny school in round 5. And he's just going to do the best that he possibly can to hold off rookie second-round pick Ozzie Trapillo and 2024 third-round pick Karan Amagaje. Still no definite word on whether Braxton Jones is going to be ready for camp, but if he is, guys, this is going to be a crazy camp battle, one that I absolutely can't think of. Fractured his ankle only in December. His recovery's been on time. It's been progressing steadily. He might actually begin training camp, though, on the PUP list. Just that's going to really leave the door open for left tackle duties. And I think both of these guys are going to be ready. I would absolutely love to see just a huge 6'8" Ozzie Trapillo. I think actually Karan Abagaje is 6'8" as well. Two just huge beasts that we have managed to get on our squad. Prototypical left tackle bodies. And I just think these are just really good problems to have. And there's also a matter of whether we're going to sign Braxton Jones or not, and whether if the value's there, especially dealing out big contracts to 2 guards plus a center. Is there money in the coffers left to pay a left tackle on top of that? Because you're looking at the top 11 highest paid left tackles are earning $20 million or more per year. We're looking at Tristan Wirfs from Tampa earning the most at $28.1 million. So if the Bears are up against it, Braxton Jones, he's probably not going to command that much money, but a player with his experience, he's started 40 games over his first 3 seasons, and his quality of play, I mean, he continues to earn an 80-plus in pass blocking grade from Pro Football Focus. Just last year, he was 80.8. He's going to get paid. It's just going to be a matter of whether the Chicago Bears do it or another team. But, guys, we're just in a really good spot. Unbelievably, I just wanted to do a video on this once I saw PFF ranking the Bears number 4 in offensive line play, projecting into this 2025 season. And crazy enough, Detroit Lions aren't there, and that's got to give us joy. So you guys let me know in the comments if you think that 4th in the NFL ranking before a down is even played is deserved. Do you think the work on the offensive line is really that good? I kind of think so, but you guys set me straight if you need to. Bear down. Thank you so much as we push towards 10,000 subscribers. If you get a minute, hit the subscribe button, man. It would be a huge blessing to me and family, and I can keep doing this on the daily. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, and bear down.